说一两件事。
First of all, I would like to address a few things.
第一个事情呢，最近呢，就下面的那个门禁那里，就是
Recently, at the entrance gate to Larongar, the local police station said that those people who have not got the 3 shots of vaccines, they cannot enter into Larongar. This applies to both monastic and lay practitioners. I think it is probably because of the lack of or the insufficient numbers of people who get vaccinations in Garzi County. And I've heard that people couldn't enter here. Other than the 3 shots of vaccination, you still have to get your PCR tests within 48 hours. So it is compulsory for people to get vaccinations. There's no other way around. To avoid these kinds of troubles, it is best to not traveling around at this time. Nowadays, we have everything here. We have all the provisions, all the necessities that's provided. Therefore, there's really no need to make those inconvenient travelings. Another thing, it is about the Vajrasattva Dharma Assembly. We don't have the public Vajrasattva Dharma Assembly this year either, because there's no way to get a permission to host such large Dharma assemblies, not just here in Garzi, in different places, and not just in monasteries. Even for the government meetings, they currently are not held in such a large group. Therefore, there's no way to get a permission to host such a large group of people. Also, as you're quite aware, it's very inconvenient to host such a large crowd of people. It's difficult to travel around at this point of time, as you're quite aware of. It could be very inconvenient to travel for yourself and for us as well, because if 1 or 2 people were to carry COVID all the way to Larongar, it would create great difficulty to the Sangha over here. The checking, the registering, the various kinds of procedures that would go on at that time, if 1 or 2 people were to carry COVID to here, would be extremely difficult for the whole Sangha. Then, at that time, if that were to happen, the whole Sangha had to be, everyone has to be registered, it has to be checked up, and then there's the PCR tests, and then there's the vaccination, so it's going to be very difficult. Recently, there's the very restrict watch out that's been set on top of the mandala structure over there, on top of the mountain. Even the highest authority in that local management has been taking rounds over there every day. So it's very difficult. I think right now it is the best for you to stay where you are and practice wherever you are located. We have lots of rules nowadays over here. It's very difficult to travel over here. Every few kilometers you will be tested for PCR, and then every few kilometers you will be registered so that you can be tracked for your traces. It is no longer like how we used to have the Dharma assemblies in the past. But nowadays, I feel that people are not sensitive to the situation, to the circumstances. But I really think it's quite necessary to be sensitive to that. As you may know, currently in Sirta, about 80 to 90% of the shops, restaurants are closed. No one's there. On one hand, it could be the overall economic situation, it could be the pandemic as well. But that's the overall circumstances. As Buddhists, at this point, we shouldn't be summoning others to the Dharma assembly or to come here. In fact, this point of time when I'm giving you the teachings, I have to stop all the message and information to publicize my teaching. If I don't do that, then we may lose our opportunity to enjoy this Dharma feast in the evening. Do not take it for granted. If you were to take photographs or take a video clip and post it online, this could endanger our situation. I'm not saying this out of some relative teaching or absolute teaching. I'm not saying this out of so-called skillful means and I have some other deeper meanings. It is not that at all. I am simply stating our state of circumstances. So I want to emphasize that if you're still not here, do not come at this point of time. This is not the time to come to the shrine hall and listening to the Dharma anymore. If you can listen to it at home, this would be the best for you to listen to the teaching at home. You can enjoy the freedom of at ease to listen to the Dharma. If you have faith, then it is not of any difference at all. On the other hand, if you were to rest in the embrace of the Guru while generating wrong views, such as, oh, this is the heartbeat of the Guru, and started to generate aggression to the Guru or wrong views to the Guru, there is really no benefit to you. So the faith is really the key. In this week, the schedule is the same to the previous classes. The first 3 days is on the wish-fulfilling treasury, and then later 3 days are on the Shurangama Sutra. Other than people who give the after-class presentations, I think it is not necessary for you to travel and to listen to class in the shrine hall. If you have faith, then even if you listen to the class at home, you will definitely receive the oral transmission and the blessings and the teaching as well. If you do not have faith, even if you travel all the way to here, what's the point of that? If you remember the story of when the Buddha descended from the heaven and then Shupati went to Shupati did not go there to greet him, rather he practiced and see the true Buddha. But the Buddha pointed out to the first person, the Bhikshuni, who greeted the Buddha first at the front row through her miraculous power. The Buddha said that this is not seeing the true Buddha. Seeing the true Buddha is the most important. We currently changed the sitting arrangement, and I really hope that you could abide the rules. If you were to create quarrels and conflicts out of such a minuscule change, I would be rather quite disappointed. Maybe because I'm getting aged, and I would feel that look at my students who wouldn't even listen to such kind of a small instruction. What's the point of me still giving teachings? I would feel rather very disappointed, and I hope that you would not create difficulty and obstacles to yourself and to the opportunity of receiving profound teachings. Create the auspicious causes and conditions to receive the teachings and cherish these teachings while you still have it. There are some other announcements. I don't think I want to spend too much time on it. The Khenpo and Khenmos will pass down the information to you. Now I'll give you the oral transmission first on the wish-fulfilling treasury.
你多半不是寻机落的呢。这几三千年次啦，这没得，这当都比康什么嘞？同么这没得让人单班呢，俺人同米国是连吃的。俺人同米国是连吃的，嘛这个谁的上等就过了呗，这没就不讲你我们人吃的，讲你我们人吃的，南卡的呢人不。नेपमा नंबर सब नाम का ला यो मन में किमचित नेवरतेन तांजं चिगु करचिन या चंदा ते गोखस द तोमच समच ना नामरु खुरलो चंगी नाम का ला जेंग में भी किमचित तेंबा ना करचिन चिगची वर्द नेपागो तेने खोस तोमच नेशे गो नामरु खुरलोम छो नाम का ला नाम सिम थाई करचिन जिचने 대고 거기서 동적지 녀도 나 전치는 넘버를 로비 남카 라 남카 타이 거치는 녀처럼네 데르트럭 지메르 넘버 지보 영 도즈기 제비전 둡지 고드는 베 남시 먹요 당전 세치기 녀도 예덕당 예덕당당 와르두 셈치는 전 깁시드 이기 리스 메페 나 남시 나스르 당전 제데르네 냐르터름 뇽르기 드흐르 리메페 세치 집디 상튼 치오 라나 디프시르 동르기 당전 리지샤 데라텐네 stendan tembi tsirtan be zigmed taglag ne zign dopa man ne kan kim yerla soba te zign ramtsin pantsin nani ba me shir zig ne ngurna med zigne ngurna men tembe yodman mangji yi mangji pongbo nyetjang terter njerwa nyed namki ngurum tambe tenjer na kand shiwa gang tedan jimam zong dina tsirnder girde rabsha te lagsha tambi purd ndozong shig
Now let us begin our class on the wish-fulfilling treasury. By now, we've already studied the first three chapters of wish-fulfilling treasury, where mainly the discussion was on the basis and then the basis of the manifestation of both of the animate and inanimate world. In the third chapter, we've already studied the formation of the inanimate world, and now in the fourth chapter, we're going to study the formation of the animate world. We were studying the wish-fulfilling treasury. In fact, the point of view is different than that of the Abhidharma. But I think this kind of text is quite crucial for us, the Buddhists, to learn, because it could expand our horizon and deepen our wisdom. It could strengthen and enhance our understanding and knowledge. In this way, I hope all of you, the fellow practitioners, could continuously to exert effort to study. This is quite important. Previously, the Khenpo and Khenmo suggested that in the midterm this year, we should also put the content of the wish-fulfilling treasury into the exams. At first, I didn't agree to it, but then later, I think it could create an auspicious connection for you to the 7 treasuries of Longchenpa. Therefore, I agreed. And I think it would be very beneficial for you to generate the kind of understanding that would lead to a deep and a comprehensive understanding of Abhidharma. Previously, we've already talked about the inanimate world, and by now you should probably already generated a deep understanding of this inanimate world. This is quite crucial because this is really the foundation of the understanding of the Trichiliocosm to the Saha world, especially to the beings of the 6 realms. This kind of Trichiliocosm, this view on the Trichiliocosm definitely could help us to understand that the world that we perceive in front of our flesh eyes are not just that. Rather, it is the phenomenon that's perceived by us through our habitual patterns. Because such a kind of a vast explanation of the cosmos could be very difficult to be understood. Just as how a farmer would not understand the amount of wealth the wealthy person would have. For us, we have such a narrow view, and we don't know all kinds of phenomena in this animate and inanimate world. Therefore, by studying this, this would be quite beneficial for us to expand our horizon. I've heard some of the Tibetans, when they study Abhidharma, they would have these discussions. They would say that, why is the hell realm under the Mount Kailash? Wouldn't it be more convenient for the Yama to punish those who needs to be punished above the ground? And underneath the Rajgar, that is the hungry ghost realm. How are those beings being summoned and then sent back? How could those beings how could these beings take rebirth over there? And how could they be dispatched? Many of those things created various kinds of doubts in their minds. But they don't understand that there is this unfathomable and inconceivable and formless force that is called karma. They have not understood that. Therefore, before we delve into the profundity of those teachings, we often feel that our view is the most correct. But it is not necessarily true at all. Especially, I think, during the Dark Age, during the 5 degenerations, the time of 5 degenerations, the degeneration of view is quite apparent nowadays. Not all the it is not that sentient beings at that time of the 5 degenerations do not understand anything. It is not that at all. The degeneration of view shows that the sentient beings do not understand and do not accept the teaching of cause and fruition. Rather, they're very sharp and sensitive and perceptive in the teachings that seems to be right and not necessarily true. During this period of time, the Dark Age, where there is intensity of afflictions and intensity of the various degenerations, and I think nowadays it's getting more and more obvious. If we do not delve ourselves into study and contemplation, then we would generate wrong views and we would not understand the profound teachings of the Buddha. That would be quite sad. Therefore, it's quite important to build a solid foundation which is reflected to one's character. Now let's look at the teaching of the formation of the sentient world according to the sentient or the animated world. According to Mipa Rinpoche's textual outline, there's the brief and extensive explanation. In the verse over here, it says that, then expounding on the formation of sentient beings, formless form and desire realms. We've already talked about the inanimate world. Let's talk about the animate world. After the formation of the inanimate world, because of the sentient beings' karma, then the animate world is bound to appear. So let's look at how the animate world manifests. In the animate world, there are the beings in the formless realm and to the form realm and to the desire realm. Progressively, they descend from one to another. The 3 types of beings would enjoy the inanimate world accordingly. People who ask, well, the form realm and desire realm, they share both the forms, but why is it that only the celestial beings' form realm are called the forms? For example, in the desire realm, the heavens, the celestial beings also have those forms. Whenever we talk about the form realm, Why is that the forms are different, or how the forms are different in the form realm? In fact, the form realm's forms are rather very luminous and clear and pure. It is the kind of form that is very different than so-called form that we have in the desire realm. According to Abhidharma, it talks about 3 types of beings, because the celestial beings, their Vipaka body, their fully ripened karmic body, is different than that of the desire realm beings. And the merit of the celestial beings are completely different than ours as well. Therefore, the forms are completely different, the merits are different. Compared to those beings in form realm, the desire realm beings, though that we still have form, but the form is rather very inferior. It is more negative. Though it is not without form, but that kind of form is the inferior. According to some of the noble teachings, it says that the sentient beings has 2 categories. One is the sentient beings to the form realm, and the other one's to the formless realm. In the commentary, it says that in this particular teaching, the desire realm and the form realm are combined as one category as the form realm beings, or that shares a form. The desire realm, why is it called desire realm? It is because it has more desire than that of the beings in the form realm. Rather than the form realm has more emphasis in form, the desire realm has more emphasis in desire. That is why the desire realm beings are not called the form realm beings. It is because the dominant power is desire rather than form. Some says that, well, the reason it is named as desire realm and form realm is without reason. But to this type of explanation, Longchenpa did not agree to that kind of explanation, because the form realm and desire realm, in fact, there are lots of the difference between the realms. Those who studied Abhidharma, you're very clear what are the different categories and different ways of differentiate the different realms, let it be the celestial beings or the different celestial realms and beings in the form realm and to the desire realm. There are a variety of differences. So you cannot say that you just make up a name and describe it. That is not reasonable. If we were to say that the pillars and vase, just as nowadays there are people who would give names to their children, and they would call their children this and that, but that is without much reason. They can give the name to their children whichever way they like, but the name of desire realm and form realm is not a random name. There are some deeper reasons for it too. In terms of the brief, in terms of the formless realm, there are further explanations. So far, we've already covered on the brief explanation. Let's look at the extensive explanation. First, we're going to look at the formless realm, and then the world, and then the desire realm. This is the aspects that's outlined in the textual outline. In terms of the formless realm, first we're going to look at the name and the meaning, and then the concepts that's related to it, as well as dispel the arguments. Dispel the faulty arguments. Those are the 3 aspects. In the formless realm, it says that at first, the nature of the formless, it is with primordial luminosity but confused. Over here, the explanation is that when it comes to the three realms, when we are talking about the desire realm, the form realm, the formless realm, we're going to discuss the nature of formless realm. And in the formless realm, there are four formless realms. The nature of the four formless realms is going to be expounded first, and then we're going to look at the form realm and then the desire realm. What is the formless realm like then? Previously, we've already talked about in the first chapter, I believe. At the very beginning, it is from this state of great luminosity, from this Tathagata state. And from this state, the co-emergent wisdom became the cause with other contributing conditions. Slowly and slowly, the sentient beings of the three realm manifested from the pure ground. And after they manifest from the pure ground, slowly the self-grasping and the karmas being created, and then the sentient beings start to take birth and death in the samsara. Therefore, from the very beginning, at the state of luminosity, everything started from that luminosity. However, it is because we do not recognize that luminous nature and get confused. Of course, according to the Sutrayana teaching, it did not state that we have this luminous Tathagata, because the way they expounded is that from beginningless time, the sentient beings started to wander in samsara because of ignorance. How the sentient beings take rebirth in four formless realms? Here's an analogy to demonstrate that. The formless realm is like the target. When we shoot an arrow, that's the target. The consciousness is like the arrow that is shooting out. The direct cause is the action of shooting, and the defiled shamatha, as well as the meritorious karma, are equivalent to the fingers that we use, as well as the bowstring whenever we use to shoot the arrow. When such kinds of conditions all gather, then the arrow will be shot out. Wherever it's shot to, it is based on the projection of karma. From this kind of karma, the sentient beings would be projected to such a high space. This is the example that demonstrates it. The main cause is the defiled meditative experience, the defiled shamatha throughout our practice. For example, if you do not practice perfectly in the fourth dhyana, then that would lead you to mistakenly taking rebirth in the neither existence nor non-existence heaven. And if one were to practice falsely on the third dhyana, then one would take rebirth in the nothing whatsoever heaven. If one were to falsely practice the second dhyana, one would then enter into the infinite consciousness heaven. If one were to practice first dhyana falsely, then one would fall into the infinite space heaven. This is through the causes and conditions in such a way. By practicing falsely of the four dhyanas, one would take rebirth in formless realm. This is really the most subtle, the most high level of understanding, but the most subtle type of state of mind. But at that time, one would abide in the formless realm for 80,000 kalpas or 60,000 kalpas or 20,000 kalpas for a very, very long period of time. Without the meditation practice, without the dhyana, then they would not be able to take rebirth over there. According to Longchenpa's auto commentary, there are further descriptions of that, explanations of that. If one were to practice the dhyanas, one would be able to directly project oneself to there. It is for that reason. Through the power of meditation, one would be able to be projected to the formless realm. And then, by the waning of the power of meditation, they would start to drop to the other heaven realms. For example, the ones that reach the neither existence nor non-existence would drop to the nothing whatsoever heaven, or to the infinite consciousness, and then to the infinite space heavens. We can see that in terms of the building of the inanimate world, it forms from bottom up. But for the sentient beings, in fact, they descend from top down. Of course, this applies to the majority of the sentient beings. When it comes to the 5 pure heavens, people could have some questions about it. Because from the formless realms, those are the sentient beings who take rebirth over there because they made false practice of the dhyanas. So those are the mundane beings. But then after formless realm, that's the form realm. On the peak of form realm is the Agnisha, the unexcelled realm, unexcelled heaven, which is the residing place for all the noble ones, for all the sages. If you were to say that if the sentient beings would descend from one level to another, does it mean that the sentient beings descend from the formless realm, who were mundane beings to start with, and then they would take rebirth in the 5 pure realms and become the noble ones? That must be contradictory. People tend to get lots of doubts about it and questions. But this is a general statement that the sentient beings would descend from there. However, in that heaven of Agnisha, that's for bodhisattvas to take rebirth, and for the bodhisattvas to manifest over there, or the arhats to attain liberation. That is of a different state of realization than the other realms where the sentient beings or the mundane beings would take rebirth. But in terms of the form realm and the formless realm, there must be some kind of skipping the different levels, or to take rebirth that which transcends the step-by-step progression. Now we've already talked about the descending of the sentient beings from the formless realm. Let's look at how the formless realms are. There are 4 formless realms, all the way from the top to the different areas of the space. The description of these 4 formless realms are from the point of view of the Great Ornament Tantra, because there is not much of analysis or description in the Abhidharma, nor of the Mahavibhasha Shastra, nor of the Agana Sutra. In the Sutrayana teachings, it just says that the formless realms are layers by layers in space, but not much of a description. So let's look at the description from the Tantric point of view that's described over here. By relying space, it abides in layers. The neither existence nor non-existence abide in such a way. It is like the lotus with layers and tiers in the space. It is of 80,000 kalpas when the sentient beings abide in it. So we've already studied that. We've already known that there are the 4 formless realms. The peak of the formless realm is called the neither existence nor non-existent nor non-existence realm, and the space that it abides in is called the lotus tier space. The celestial beings that lives in the neither existence nor non-existence realm can abide over there by their dhyana for 80,000 kalpas. according to the creation of the world, Abhidharma taught by the Buddha, it says that the duration, which is the 80,000 kalpas, is the same. However, because there are different levels of the dhyana, for example, of the low capacities, those beings would abide over there for 7 kalpas, and for the intermediate capacity, they would abide there for 75,000 kalpas, and for the high capacity, then they would abide over there for 80,000 kalpas. In the formless realm, there is rather not much of suffering or happiness, and the sentient beings abiding over there are numerous. There must be lots of the celestial beings abides there, but without happiness nor suffering, they abide in such kind of a state. It is because they do not have any thought, therefore they have no opportunity to practice. This is the first of the 4 formless realms. And then to continue, it says that beneath it, for the distance of 30,000 yojanas, there is the manifested play return wheel. In that space, without any supports, abiding for 60,000 kalpas. Previously, we talked about the neither existence nor non-existence heaven, and then descending from there, about 30,000 yojanas from there, there is the manifested play return wheel. According to the autobiography, it says that it's the consciousness manifested play return wheel. This is the name of the space, and the celestial beings of the second formless realm abides there. The duration of their lifespan is 60,000 kalpas, and they would abide in the dhyana of joyfulness. According to the autobiography, it says, auto commentary, it says that they would abide in the joyfulness, in the joyful dhyana, but according to Abhidharma, it says that in the formless realm, it is without suffering, without happiness. So the joyfulness must be very, very subtle. It must be the kind of state without suffering, and they would name it as a joyfulness. Again, there is no thoughts and no feeling in this particular formless realm. Beings with a low capacity, they would be able to abide there for 50,000 kalpas, and of the intermediate capacity is 55,000 yojanas kalpas. For the high capacity, it is of 60,000 kalpas. It is very much based on their level of realization. Now look at the third formless realm. The next realm, it says that descending from there for 20,000 yojanas, and there is the projection playing return wheel. However, in the auto commentary, it is a consciousness projection playing return wheel. This is the name of the space. According to Abhidharma, for example, whenever we study about the formless realm, they did not state any of the space. It did not state specifically about the abiding place, but according to wish-fulfilling treasury, there are different names to the different spaces, just as when we come to Larangar, there are different places designated to different areas, different names designated to different areas. This level of the heaven realm is called, this level of the formless realm is called infinite consciousness. It is because they mainly rely on consciousness. everything is consciousness is very much similar to the Chittamatra school. Everything is manifestation of the mind. Everything is created by mind. By people holding, grasping to it, they would take rebirth in this heaven, in this formless realm. When we studied the three rests of Longchenpa, it talks about if we do not practice well, if we do not practice correctly, it's very easy for the practitioners to take rebirth in form realm and formlessness realm. It is because it is without the apparent suffering and happiness, and the duration of lifespan with such dhyana is a bit different. Of the low capacities of 30,000 kalpas, and then the intermediate is 31,000 kalpas, and then of the high capacity is 40,000 kalpas. And then the fourth one is the descending from there for 1,000 yojanas, there is the great cloud playing space, and within it, that is the infinite space, formless realm. Descending from the infinite consciousness realm for 1,000 yojanas, not tens of thousands, but 1,000 yojanas, there is the infinite space realm, and this realm resides in the space, and the space name is called the Great Cloud Playing Space. The celestial beings that lives there are the ones who practice by meditating on everything is empty. For people who practice the meditation by seeing everything as empty, it's very easy for them to hold on to emptiness and then take rebirth as the celestial beings living in infinite space, formless realm. But this is also, again, very subtle. According to the world creation Abhidharma, it says that it is without suffering and without happiness. The lifespan for the low capacity is 17,500, and for the intermediate capacity is 18,000, and then for the great capacity is for 20,000. They would be able to have that kind of duration. It is a little bit different. We should understand that if we do not practice correctly, if we do not practice well, it's very easy for practitioners to take rebirth in the four formless realms. When people who endure lots of suffering, they would feel that it would be wonderful to take rebirth in the formless realm because there's so much suffering in the Saha world, and it would be really wonderful to take rebirth in formless realm because even the shortest duration of lifespan in formless realm is about 20,000 kalpas. That is really wonderful, and people may feel in such a way. But what it points out here is that if we were to make mistakes in our practice, to grasp onto anything, so then it is very easy, even if it's a subtle grasping, it's easy for us to take rebirth in formless realm. Now we've already understood the various kinds of conditions and the descriptions of the four formless realm. Now let's look at why it is named as four formless realms. What does it mean by formless? These four formless realms, unlike the desire and form realms that has light, it is of one-pointed dhyana without any movements of consciousness. Our bodies, the beings in the desire realm, our bodies are made of bones and flesh and blood, but the beings of formless realm, they do not have any of the forms of the bones and blood and so on and so forth, nor are they like the celestial beings in the other form realms. For example, the celestial beings in the form realm, they have the body that's made of light. Therefore, usually when we talk about the celestial beings being defeated or killed, there's no bloodshed at all because they do not have any physical existence like us. So the desire realm beings have this solid existence, and then the form realm beings have the body that's made of light. So what's the way that the beings of the formless realm exist? They actually exist in the way of consciousness, and their consciousness would rely on dhyana. They would abide with this one-pointedness. This is quite unfathomable. Sometimes we would experience that kind of unfathomable livelihood, or the way that the sentient beings would live by watching the animal worlds. There are so many different ways that beings could live their lives.
然后这个无色界呢，就是还有这个像那个大多数的恶鬼啊，或者是中阴身，就是他们的话呢，好像下面的注释当中稍微有点不是很好懂，就是可能到时候他那个
The next part is a little bit difficult to understand. It talks about how the formless realm does not have any of the intrinsically existent forms, nor does the consciousness rely on the a body that carries karma. The teaching in Tibetan is like such, but maybe the meaning is a little difficult to explain. So it means that the consciousness it means that the beings in the formless realm are unlike the pretas, because the congregos usually live in human realm or in the animal realm, but they have intrinsic character to their forms. They still have some kind of intrinsic character to the form. Also, when it comes to the bardo, the four aggregates body, I'm not too sure about this because the body of the bardo beings or beings in the bardo, their body must be different than the hungry ghost body. The hungry ghost body still have the intrinsic character to their forms. But when it comes to the bardo beings, the four aggregates body, it doesn't have any intrinsically charactered forms to their body. Otherwise, they would have certain kinds of obstacles or touches.
它是一种内命的，就是或者是寂乐，就是寂乐的话呢，可能安乐是应该是并不明显的、非常激进的一个状态当中的。
The true formless realm beings, they abide in the way that there is the intrinsic luminosity or the pure bliss. So that kind of abiding in that kind of quintessence. There is a little bit of a confusion about the bardo body. The body in the dream, we understand that. For example, if we were to transform into a monkey in our dreams, this is really just a transformation or just some kind of illusory manifestation in our dreams, but it is not of a body that has intrinsic character. So when it comes to the sentient beings of the formless realm, making comparison to the bardo body, consciousness body, it says that it is without the intrinsic character body. How could the consciousness body has the intrinsic character body? I just remembered that I forgot to read the Tibetan version of it. I'll think up on it again, and you should read into it again as well. How could the Bardo body has the intrinsic form, the intrinsic charactered form? I don't quite understand it. Maybe I'll contemplate up on it a bit more. When we chant the sutras, we usually chant that it has the Bardo body is the kind of mental consciousness body, but I'm not quite sure how this part is explained. The next verse says that unlike the hell realm suffering body, it is moistened by the one-pointed quintessence and bliss dhyana water. Therefore, it is named as the awareness emptiness dhyana body. The hell realm means that they have the body that would experience the suffering. They would have the consciousness that is perceptible to suffering. But the body is without any self-charactered form. It is nor is it the manifested body. It is rather just the mental consciousness body, and then they would be perceptible to suffering. It is kind of similar to our dreams. When we're having dreams, sometimes we can experience the suffering that is similar to hell realm. But that body is still a little bit different than the illusory body. It is the body that purely experiences suffering. But the formless realm being's body, they do not have a body like such. Therefore, it is called formless. In the hell realm, the beings still have a certain kind of form, because whenever we look at the pictures that depicts the scenes in the hell realm, we can see all kinds of forms. For example, the guards and with the various weapons and with various kinds of punishments and cutting and all of those. According to Bodhisattva Charyavatara, it says that the sentient beings of the hell realm is not created by anyone, nor did those women come from anywhere. In fact, those beings appear and the sufferings appear because of the sentient beings' own karma. But for the formless realm beings, they abide one-pointedly in their dhyana. It is a part of the consciousness. And in the verse, it says it is the awareness empty dhyana body. According to the auto commentary, it is the body that is similar to emptiness, however, it manifests as a body. Anyhow, the suffering and happiness to this type of body does not manifest or does not, the body does not perceive any of those at all. It is rather the mental consciousness. Though they have consciousness, but they would not create any karma. The reason of not creating karma is because they do not create any coarse karma or coarse feelings. It is rather very subtle. It is something that we can be aware of, but it is not without consciousness. When we studied the clear realization and Abhidharma, we studied that at the end, when the mental consciousness gets more and more subtle at the state of formlessness realm, it is at the state of great subtlety. But there is still the seed for karmic habitual tendencies, a seed for karma. That is why whenever we talk about the animals that has hibernation, such as a snake, such as the Tibetan marmots, they would abide in this kind of a state, a similar state. Therefore, the formless realm beings also has such kind of very subtle consciousness. They would abide in such a way for a very long period of time, the 80,000 kalpas or 60,000 kalpas. It is because they are pure, they're purely relying on this consciousness state, the very, very subtle consciousness. That is how their body is different than all the other sentient beings in different realms, different than hell realm beings and the hungry ghost realm beings, definitely different than human beings and animals, because all these beings still are too coarse. But when it comes to the body, the description of body of the formlessness realm, they're very special. According to the Ikogama Sutra, it says that at the time of giving the Dharma teachings, the Buddha attracted the audience, such as the desire realm beings, the formless realm beings, and form realm beings, and they would all prostrate to the Buddha. So, according to the Ikogama Sutra, the formlessness realm beings doesn't necessarily not have a body. But the subtlety of their body cannot be perceived by even the Shravakas or the Arhats. Rather, only the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas can see them. There's a story of how a bhikshu who practiced dhyana, he already attained the dhyana of formlessness, and then after that he then attained the dhyana of infinite space. He asked the people, "Can you see my body?" And then the people around him by saying that, "I can't see my body." And at the time of reaching his body, he's simply grasping space, though that other people would say that, "Oh, your body is in the bed and your body is this and that," but he doesn't have a body. He said that though that I seem to have a body, but this so-called body is without any obstruction. According to Mahaparinirvana Sutra, it says that at the time of the passing of Shariputra, the celestial beings of formless realm shed tears just like the spring rain. At the time of the passing of Shariputra, the celestial beings of formless beings started to cry out of sadness, but I'm not sure what's the way of description, because if there is no form to the formless realm, then how could they shed tears? And I was thinking about it at home because it was raining, and then I thought that the drizzles of spring must be very, very subtle, and it's very difficult to see. According to Avatamsaka Sutra, when it describes the formless realm, it says that the bodhisattvas can taste the fragrance and can smell and taste the fragrance of formless realm, because the formless realm beings must also take delight in the fragrance. Otherwise, without fragrance, how could the bodhisattvas taste it? So through various kinds of descriptions, with such kind of analysis, we will be able to understand that formless realm is not devoid of form. We should understand that. Now we've completed on the second part of the question. The next part is on refuting the wrong views. After studying this, some narrow-minded people would say that, well, this is not, it can't be true. How could the formless realm beings take support from space? Why is that? Because according to Abhidharma, it says that formless realm is without form. So how could it take support from space? Because formless realm is without any place, without any form, therefore it is without any space, without any place. That is not true. Here's the argument. According to Sutra, it says that the formless realm beings, at the time of death, they would also take support or rely on the four aggregates. There are people who may generate great numbers of doubts because Longchenpa talks about the various levels of space. And the narrow-minded people asked, how could there be different layers of space? And then Longchenpa answers in such a way. Over here, the supports and the one that takes supports, the formless realm is without the form in our consideration, such as the buildings, the houses, and domains and grounds and so on. The form is self-charactered and could manifest to each other. It is without the other, therefore it is without the true place for the form. According to Longchenpa, he said that it is definitely there is definitely a subtle form in the formless realm, and it is very reasonable. How so? Because the formless realm beings, their body rely in the four types of space. Because in the place, in the domain of the formless realm, the form is not the kind of form that we acknowledge or that we understand in the desire realm. They definitely do not have the form or the kind of abiding place that we, the desire realm beings, understand. For example, the houses and plateaus and the buildings and the mountains and so on. There's no such kind of form. If you were to ask me that there are the forms like such in the formless realm, I would say no. Also, I would not say that they have the ears, eyes, and tongues like the desire realm beings. There's no such kind of five roots to them. But the kind of true form that can be perceived by each other. For example, you can see me and I can see you. I see that you have the five branches, the five limbs rather, and the five fingers, the ears, eyes, nose, and the body that we can see in desire realm, in fact, are not existent in the formless realm. Because in the formless realm, they do not have true form. The formless realm beings have the dhyana body, as we studied earlier, the awareness, emptiness, dhyana body, right? So there is the kind of a body, but that kind of body is a consciousness body, and that kind of consciousness body abides in space. Because today we only talk about everything's in space. All of a sudden I feel that I don't know where I am. I'm also halfway in space as well. So this is the analysis. That's very reasonable. Longchenpa said that there is no truly existent form in such a way in the formless realm. If you were to say that there is object and subject, the object and subject is unreasonable, then I'll give you another argument to respond with your with your logic, if you were to say that this object and the subject is not reasonable, then this kind of formless realm body as the subject and the space as object being incorrect or being unreasonable, then there are many unreasonable arguments to your argument. Why is that? It is to say that a Bardo body, taking a Bardo body as an example, the mind stream that relies on the four aggregates, and the consciousness, the mind stream is the subject, and the four aggregates being the subject. Then the subject relying on the object being the Bardo body are their existence as the Bardo body. If you were to say so, then there is the subject and object. But if you were to say that the formless beings has the subject and object is unreasonable, you were to say that this Bardo body is unreasonable as well. It is to say that a sentient being were to die here, for example, and then that being who died, being in the desire realm, all of a sudden transcended him or herself into the formless realm. But that is not reasonable, because that is to say that even in the desire realm, we have a formless realm as well. If a being that dies in the desire realm, right away he would be transformed into the formless realm, that would be very chaotic. According to the sutra, it says that the desire realm is the lowest and then the formless realm is the highest. But if you were to say that there is a formless realm in the desire realm, that is very faulty. The formless beings, by relying on the power of their dhyana, they would be able to be projected into the various realms, and some could be projected to the form realm, some could be directly projected to the formless realm. It is by their own karma. And the sentient beings, the other sentient beings, can take rebirth into the Saha world, and some of the beings could be descending from the formless realm. Therefore, the formless realm still, those beings still have a sense of body, except they're very subtle. The formless realm also has different layers, different tiers. There are, for example, 30,000 yojanas, 20,000 yojanas, and 1,000 yojanas in between. These are the worlds that they have. Longchenpa said that the way that he stated is quite reasonable, because the sentient beings, by relying on their power of dhyana, they would be able to be projected into different worlds. That is why the Buddha said that the formless realm is the highest. That is to say that those beings could rely on their power of dhyana or rely on their karma to be reborn over there. That is why it is reasonable to say that they also have a specific location. According to Abhidharma, it also says that the formless realm is without any place. If that were to be true, then the formless realm would be everywhere. In my bowl, there could be a formless realm, and it could be everywhere. But from another aspect, from the point of view of the common vehicle, the Abhidharma could also be correct, because that is to say that the formless realm beings does not have a processing body, does not have the coarse body, and does not have the luminous consciousness, unlike the beings and unlike the things that we have in this realm. So when it comes to this teaching, I think it's quite important for you to contemplate upon it. The formless realm beings still have a subtle body, and the formless realm still have the space that has different layers, different tiers. When you study Abhidharma, especially those of you who studied Abhidharma, you should compare to the wish-fulfilling treasury. Some parts are similar, some parts are not similar. And when it comes to the parts that's different, you shouldn't think that, oh, this is wrong, that is wrong, this is contradictory. You shouldn't think in such a way. Rather, you should widen your perspective and understand that the various teachings are targeting various audience. And then the last one over here says that therefore the Tantra explained in such a way, so one should remember such supreme teachings. Longchenpa states over here that the previous teachings on the formless realm is very much based on the Great Ornament Tantra and the Pearl Garland Tantra. And there's another that's composed by Pamasambhava Dakju. Not too sure about that. Not too sure where Longchenpa quoted from that particular text. But Longchenpa quoted from the Tantra to give the teachings on formless realm. The explanation is indeed excellent. So for the students like us, we need to study it and understand the various points about this world. When it comes to the world that we see, the world that we know, we should not just say that it is because of the past that I can see, the future that I can see, it is because I can perceive. We shouldn't just be bound by our narrow perspective. If we were to consider that the human being's perspective to be true, then of course we can describe everything, but it is not. So when it comes to the beings of the six realms, we need to understand that we need to shift our perspective. We'll stop here today.